What's going on, people, and welcome back to another player versus player. This week, the one that won from the poll was Thierry Henry versus Cristiano Ronaldo, player versus player. Now, the categories you can see, I've actually added a few more compared to the other ones I've done so far. So there are a few more categories in this one, but I love it. I love doing it. So let's get into it. Both legends of the game, obviously. Shooting is the first category. Henry scored some bangers in his time. I remember the back heel, I think it was against Charlton, the flick up and volley on the turn against United. He made that finesse far post bottom corner finish very famous, and now everyone does it. Ronaldo, like, you can't argue with the amount of goals he scored over his career. Different types as well. For this one, it's difficult because I think Henry was a little bit more of a finesse finisher. He could score some bangers, as I said, but I think he was a little bit more about placement, whereas Ronaldo could do that, but he was a little bit more just sheer power and force. I think because of the numbers and stuff, you'd have to give it to Ronaldo, but I loved some of Henry's goals, but I'd give it to Ronaldo for the shooting. Heading, I think it's famous and very well known that Henry was not a fan of heading. I think he scored maybe 2 or 3 in his career, but it was a well-known thing that he hated heading the ball. Whereas Ronaldo, like, he must have scored so many goals with his head. I remember seeing a lot he scored with his head. I don't know the number off by heart, but he scored a ton with his head. So for this one, very easy, Ronaldo for heading. Passing, I would give this one to Henry. I think Henry was a little bit more of a team player than Ronaldo, and I recently watched in an interview with Henry that he said that he actually preferred getting assists and setting his teammates up than scoring the goals himself. He'd get more of a satisfaction and more joy out of it. He said, so when you look back on some of the goals he scored, that's why sometimes he's not really celebrating, or people would say that he just looks arrogant. And whereas if he set people up, you'd see him in a huddle where the team are going to congratulate the goal scorer, and he'd be one of them and look happier. I do think Henry was a better passer, so I'd give it to Henry for that. Goals, again, it depends on what you're doing it on, but on sheer numbers, Ronaldo blows him out of the water. Ronaldo's currently at 819, whereas Henry finished on 290. So in terms of sheer numbers, it's Ronaldo. So I'd have to give goals to Ronaldo. Speed. Now, this one could be a bit controversial because I feel like other people would go for the other guy more. Ronaldo was no slow player at all. He's definitely lost pace now, but that's expected as you get older in football. But for me, Henry, I think the only one that reminds me of Henry and his speed is Mbappe. And I think Mbappe is faster than Henry was, and that takes some doing. Because I think Henry was, not only was he fast, but he was graceful whilst he was fast at the same time. And that's very hard to do. I just think sheer speed, acceleration, and dribbling speed, and sprinting speed, I think Henry trumps Ronaldo in all of them. Might be controversial, but that's how I feel. Dribbling, difficult one. I loved Ronaldo, still do. I do think he's lost some of his dribbling ability, but he was more of a finish the moves off, whereas Henry was a bit more of a creator and could finish moves off too. I think Henry was the better dribbler, I've got to be honest. Henry gets it for me. Tackling, a difficult one because I don't think either of them were great. It's tough with tackling. I don't feel like either one stands out more than the other. I would go with Henry for tackling, but not by a lot. Athleticism, I think the heading ability of Ronaldo, you have to give that to him. The jumping ability, Ronaldo, I think he was more explosive than Henry was in terms of like jumping up and maybe a bit stronger maybe. Whereas Henry had a bit more explosiveness in terms of acceleration, speed, and that first 5-10 yards. Athleticism, I would edge it to Ronaldo. Agility, I'd give this one to Henry. I think that Henry had that gracefulness, as I said. He looked like he glided over the pitch. It was like his feet were feathers because it was just so light on his feet. we all remember him with the high socks. He brought that into fashion, and the Vapors, the Nike Vapors, took right off when he started wearing them. And the speed of the guy and the dribbling on the ball in tight spaces. Ronaldo could do it too, but I do think agility, just quickness in tight areas and stuff, I don't think there's been many better. So for me, I'd give that one to Henry. Moving on to the next side, we've got technique. It's tough, it's debatable. Technique-wise, I think, for me, I'd edge it to Henry. I think Ronaldo had a very good technique. It depends on what you're basing it on as well, whether it's technique for free kicks, corners. I know they both didn't really take corners, but free kicks, penalties. But I'm on about overall gameplay technique during the game, outside of things like free kicks and that. I think technique, it's difficult because Ronaldo introduced that kind of knuckleball. Remember the famous free kick against Portsmouth? And that dip and swerve and speed on the ball. Whereas Henry had that kind of just, he could curl it in from anywhere. But in terms of first touch, bringing the ball down, chesting it, it's tough. But I would give it to Henry. Henry for technique for me. Flair, again, debatable. Personally, I feel like Henry had more flair. I feel like still at a good level. And for me, Henry he made it look more effortless than Ronaldo did. You could tell that Ronaldo had worked on it a lot, and that's not a bash at Ronaldo. That's just what it was. You could tell that he'd crafted and really worked at things to polish it. Whereas I think Henry definitely worked at things. I know he did, but it was like it came more natural to him. And I think in terms of flair, things he did on the pitch, whether it was speed, quickness of feet, a move to beat someone, a bit of skill to beat someone, I think for me, Henry gets it. Strength, tough one. I think they were both stronger than they look on the ball. Henry used to just seem to bounce off of people and sprint past them. As Ronaldo, I think more stands out for me with him is aerially strength and the way he would rise up and win and challenge people for headers. It's tough. I'd give strength to Ronaldo, but not by a lot. Work rate, I think both have been criticised over their careers for probably not tracking back a lot, and especially nowadays, Ronaldo was getting it recently up to the system and tactics of they saying he won't press off the ball, but I've seen him press off the ball, I've seen him track back. I remember either of them doing it a lot, and I think with Henry's ability going forward on the attack, you would risk it and wouldn't make him come back and do the dirty work because he was so good on the other end of the pitch. I'd give work rate to Ronaldo, but not by a lot. Set pieces, as I was talking a minute ago, the knuckle balls that Ronaldo brought in, I remember everyone was trying to do them after, including me. Managed to get it a little bit, but not to that level. And Henry had that kind of like them curlers, as I said, and he could lash one on the odd time, but I remember that free kick, I think it was against Wigan, where he took it and then he looked at the camera and he's like, is that enough? Is that enough? Or is that good enough? Or something he said. And then I remember him scoring a couple of quick free kicks as well, where everyone's still setting up the wall and that, and he's took it and the refs allowed it, and like the quick thinking. So I would actually give it to Henry for set pieces because I think he was a bit more consistent with the amount he scored, whereas Ronaldo seemed to score more in his younger days, I believe, and especially at United compared to now. He doesn't really score any free kicks anymore, whereas I think Henry had it consistently more, that he'd score more and over the spread of his career. So I'd give Henry the set piece advantage. Trophies, look, you can't argue with it. The numbers themselves, Ronaldo has 34 and Henry had 19, and Ronaldo's still going. So it has to be Ronaldo for trophies. Career, it's debatable. I think Ronaldo, longevity is there. He's still going. He still wants to achieve. I know he's getting a lot of stick for the Al Nassr stuff that's going on, but I wish him the best. I hope he enjoys his career now and retires happily. Deserves it, in my opinion. A lot of people lost their minds about that interview he did, but I don't think he was wrong in doing it. And Henry, the only thing I would say, he probably could have won a few more like league titles and stuff, but you could also argue that with Henry, he won a World Cup, which Ronaldo never got to do. But Ronaldo won a Euros. But Henry's also won a Euros and a World Cup. And I could have argued that for the trophies as well. I kind of forgot that just a minute ago. But Depends on what you're basing it on, but in terms of sheer numbers for the trophies, I had to give it to Ronaldo, but Henry has won a World Cup, so depends. As for career, it's very tough. It is really tough. I think Ronaldo probably. They've both been around a lot of leagues, to be honest, but I think Ronaldo has done it at a higher level for longer, and he's usually been the main man, whereas when you think of Henry when he left Arsenal, he went to Barcelona, he had to adjust to Pep's system. Pep told him off for things he was doing in the game because he wanted him to change his style of play, and he weren't the main man at Barcelona then. So I think in terms of a duration of a career and when you spread it out over a career, I think Ronaldo's had a bit more of a successful one and won more. So I'd give it to Ronaldo for that. Legacy is another tough one for me. I was debating this one in my head before I even did the video. When you think about like culture and things that people bring to football, like I've spoke to about in my basketball videos before with like Allen Iverson, how he introduced the arm sleeves and tattoos and the headband and stuff to basketball, or brought it more to the forefront. Henry did that with the high socks over the knees and the gloves, the black and blue woolly night gloves that everyone wanted to get after that. The va-va-voom, the way, even the way he tried, like walked about, and the confidence he had of himself. Ronaldo, obviously, he's still going. He's achieved everything pretty much in the game, most of it. He's got the confidence. If you were to ask people nowadays, I think more people would say Ronaldo because of that recency bias. But I got to witness both. I personally think because of the socks things, which Ronaldo even copied as well and did with the socks over the knees and that. I think I'm going to give it to Ronaldo, but I think you have to respect what Henry did because he brought in a lot of the stuff, like I said. So I would give it to Ronaldo, but I feel a little bit harsh not giving it to Henry. And then lastly, guys, we got star power. Both of them fantastic at what they've done. Celebrity-wise, Ronaldo's on a different level to Henry. But also what I would say in Henry's defence on some of these as well is that social media wasn't about as much in Henry's time as it is and it has been in Ronaldo's time. I would say that in Henry's defence, maybe he would get the same level of adulation that Ronaldo gets and has got if they were at the same sort of age and were in their same prime at the same time and everything. Star power, I mean, Henry for me is the best ever Premier League player I've seen. Ronaldo's up there for it as well, but Henry is the best I've ever seen in the Premier League. If we're just talking about level of like social reach, celebrity status, walking into a room, like personally, it's hard for me. I don't know. I feel like I'd feel the same level to Henry as I would Ronaldo if they both walked in a room. But I think more people would say Ronaldo, but that's because more people are aware of Ronaldo and probably didn't get to see Henry. You know what I mean? There are a lot of younger people that will just go with Ronaldo because that's what they've seen. It's really tough. I think I'd be really interested to see what you guys say in the comments just on the star power. You don't even have to do all these. The star power alone is the hardest one for me. I think Ronaldo had that more... It's tough. Do you know what? I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to give it to Henry. But I think more people will go for Ronaldo, and I wouldn't be mad at it. There's not a lot in it for me. I easily could give it to both of them, but I think Henry got the ball rolling in terms of the fashion stuff and the self-confidence and the arrogance and the swag. And yes, he may not have won as much, he may not have scored as many goals, but for me, getting to see both of them, Ronaldo's definitely up there. He's one of the greatest ever. I'm not arguing that. But I think Henry don't get the respect he deserves either. So I would give it to Henry, but it's tough because I think if you ask me on another day, I might give it to Ronaldo. So let's count it up. Shooting, Ronaldo 1-0, heading Ronaldo 2-0, passing 2-1 Ronaldo, goals Ronaldo 3-1, speed Henry 3-2, dribbling Henry 3-3, tackling Henry 4-3, athleticism Ronaldo 4-all, agility Henry 5-4 Henry, technique Henry 6-4 Henry, flair Henry 7-4 Henry, strength Ronaldo 7-5, work rate Ronaldo 7-6, set pieces Henry 8-6, trophies Ronaldo 8-7, career Ronaldo 8-8, legacy Ronaldo 9-8, and then star power Henry 9-9. We've actually got a stalemate. We've actually got a draw. This hasn't happened in any of the players I've done so far. It makes it very interesting. Let me know if you've got another category, guys, that I could add to this, and I might do another video as a part 2, so we do have an out-and-out winner. But for me, that's crazy that they've drawn it. First time it's happened. It might happen again on some of the other player versus player. It depends on the amount of categories I put out and just how the cookie crumbles, the way it's ended up. Maybe it's the fairest thing, because there was not a lot to separate them. I really struggled with a few of the categories myself. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. I love doing these videos. Appreciate everyone supporting recently. That the views have been going up on the videos, and that's only with your guys doing and your help. You make the channel what it is. Yes, I have to show up and do them, but it's a community, as I said, guys. It can only do as well as much as you guys support it. Supporting, subscribing, the notifications are switched on. Appreciate everyone's support. Henry 9, Cristiano Ronaldo 9. We don't have a winner for once, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and maybe I'll do a part 2 for it if you guys come up with some more categories so we have an out-and-out winner. But I'm good with leaving it at level, because they're both legends. They're both one of the greatest of all time. I'm happy with it like that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, guys. I'll speak to you soon.